Welcome back to LCS Challengers, everyone. I'm Mazel, joined by Beatdown and Smacks yet again as we are diving straight into our third series of the night. It is AOE Gold versus Cloud9 Challengers. And I know we were putting a lot of focus on bot lane last game. Well, that focus is 10 times more in this one specifically because it's the best provisional bot lane versus the best bot lane in Challengers League here, Smacks, and it's going to be a slaughter.
Ooh, I agree with you. First of all, I want to agree with you. I think some of the provisional teams are going to be a little upset that we're making so bold a claim about this. But I don't think the Challengers teams can be that mad because Lost and Zazel have been putting on some big performances. But let's talk a little bit more about AOE's bot lane. You know, I brought up SkyTech a bit earlier with the Vi support, the classic from him. But really, the classic in this bottom lane recently has been Lynx's Kalista. This guy is a fiend on this champion, and I don't say this about a lot of teams, but I think you have to ban Kalista against this guy. It's way too good.
Yes. You have to. Like this team specifically out of the entire league has literally earned that Kalista ban because you were talking about you didn't realize how many wins AOE had summer. A lot of these are game 2 Kalista picks that come through from Lynx, and it just keeps happening where him and SkyTech are able to snowball that early game into a very decisive win.
Also want to give a shout out to those jerseys, looking mighty sick. I actually haven't gotten a chance to see those just yet, so those are very nice. But they will need those jerseys to maybe try and stay squeaky clean against Cloud9 Challengers, who on the other side are top of the table. They are strong, and especially through that bot lane, Lost and Zazel have been so efficient in the 2v2s, and Miness has had so many solo kills, and Tomio has felt like the sword that is guided by the machinations of Cloud9 here. Yeah.
And I mean, you want to talk about machinations? I mean, we're talking about Zazel, really. Like, he has always been good when he has played in competitive. And the fact that he's that very cerebral player, every player we talk to talks about how intelligent he is, how willing to lead he is. And that is shown, I think, at least in part, of how decisive and how good Cloud9 have been playing this split.
We gotta look back at these jungle matchups. I'd already stated a little bit about Tomio, how he's a little bit of the sword for Cloud9, while Winnie on the other side of him, no slouches in his own right, but he is the general and the sword, it feels like, as he is the decisive shot caller for AOE, Smacks.
Yeah, the junglers for both of these teams are actually really interesting to me right now because they have some similarities, right? They've got a very similar champion pool. It's basically the exact same 5 champions, except Tomio's got an Olaf game thrown in there. Everything else is identical, but as you can see here, their different histories that they've been through in competitive could not be more different. Winnie, he started in his academy debut in 2020, and by the way, he hit 2nd place on that roster. The only academy time that he ever had in that split, 2nd place, and then hasn't been back there since, which I personally think is a bit of a robbery. But he's had some other competitive experience around the amateur space and also in collegiate, as he did play a lot on Western University, even most recently making it to top 8 on this team in CELO and making it all the way to LA, which is very admirable.
Yeah, and on the other side, I mean, you have the Evil Geniuses Prodigy itself as Tomio, who used to make his name on the Graves, the Lilias, but has come into his own in his own right. But I do want to go back to that Winnie conversation and bring up some clips that we have of some of that forward direction that Winnie has brought to the table, Smacks.
Yeah, I really love how much of a leader Winnie is on this team, which is, again, where one of those big differences does come through. But we'll talk about Tomio in a little while. Winnie is the general. On every team that he's on, it feels like he always is the guy making plays for his team. And not only making plays, making sacrifices for his team. He is always the one to dive in first, make the first move, make the first play. And a lot of that is because he plays these early game style champions, right? You can see him playing that Elise, the gankers like Maokai. He is putting his body forward so that the rest of his team can follow up and make these plays. And he's doing it as early as like level 2 sometimes too. He knows how to make these ganks happen.
He's a player who not only does he lead with this team, he's also a player who recognizes his position and takes responsibility. Any interview you have with him talking about, especially if it's like a split series where he wins game 2, he'll say game 1, my bad, I made a bad call at this specific time. Because something we've talked about a lot on this broadcast on and off of the actual cast is that this team lives or die by their jungler Winnie. Winnie makes calls. They are incredibly decisive as a result, and they've gotten some insane wins because of it. They've also got some unfortunate losses as well. It's better to be decisive than not. And talking to Winnie during the interview series that we showed at the top of the show, he told me that he is always constantly looking to improve not only his knowledge, but his ability to call so he can keep being that voice for the team, and he can be more consistent. So it's more of, oh, wow, they shouldn't have won that game, but they did, and less of, they should have won that game, but they didn't.
Well, we got to talk about Tobio, who's been on your screen for a little while now as well. And you see some of those early games that we were talking about, decision-making in his hands. But then it's the later game when he joins up with the team that it just gets so decisive, Smacks.
And he may be picking the same champions as Winnie, but he's using them in a very different way. Not only in the gameplay, but also in the comms and in the team leading. His team is packed with these veterans that have played on the LCS stage, played on the world stage, some of them. And so he doesn't have to have that big vocal presence on his team, but he can still make those plays happen. He is still putting up big numbers for this team, and he's a big part of why they are one of the top teams in the entire league right now.
Indeed it is. Well, we will see how these top teams can do battle on the Rift as we are ready for draft. So we will say goodbye to Smacks for now and say hello to a halftime bit in just a little bit. But we're going to get into draft now. Cloud9 challengers are on the blue side, AOE on this red side. And I think obviously the ADC bans will be a big priority here. We were looking at bot lane as well. We'll see if the picks actually do reign through. But I'm specifically looking at a lot of the setup for the facilitation junglers. Do Maokai and Vi make it through? Does Sejuani make it through? We immediately get the Gangplank ban by Cloud9 challengers, and we'll see what AOE's response is going to be.
That's a pretty interesting look to get taken right off the bat there, but it is a good one, I think, especially with how bot-focused this team can be. Gangplank is something Gamsu's been able to use with very big effect to help affect that part of the map. And the Nami ban is a very interesting one, too. Honestly, usually, I try not to talk about first rotation bans, but so far, a lot of these ones have been like super interesting. I mean, Lucian Nami has been insane for Lost and Zeyzal. It's been their go-to for the most part, and it is incredible. So it makes sense that they want to get rid of it, and I want to see where they're going to go next.
A little while to pick through these bans. Is that Elise?
That one's
will join the table. I think rightfully so. Anything that gives me a little bit of that early aggression, find a lead for his team. Definitely want to take that off the board. That Ashe is banned away. The pick that I'm looking at now is Maokai is still there. I would expect AOE to have to ban that one out here as Ashe, that combo with it, definitely take it away, but also that utility from bot lane gone with the Caitlyn ban there as well.
That's right. A lot of those ranged picks taken out of the picture, and whatever this last pick will be, we'll kind of determine what is first up on the chopping block. Lucian, still very pickable. Oh, the Xayah. Interesting. So they want to make sure AOE, making sure it's the Lucian, maybe Zeri handshake, because even with Nami gone, you can pair Lucian with Lulu. You can pair it with Sona, someone I don't remember who did that last weekend, and that's actually a pretty good combination in itself as well. So there's still a lot of options here for bot lane.
And we do get the Maokai there locked in first pick for Cloud9 challengers. And then it has gone through Kalista locked in for Lynx, as well as the Sejuani for Winnie. And they are perfectly checking the boxes right now for AOE's setup.
And this is what we talked about. Like, Lynx will happily take this into any game if it's available. It's been responsible for a lot of their success so far this split, and it's literally something you need to ban, especially because if that Zeri gets locked in, you don't have as much lane pressure. You will be with the Lulu, so it will be okay. But ultimately, especially with Winnie spending time on that bottom side of the map, you know it's going to be Brawl City down there.
Brawl City, I'm here for it. Are we when are we catching the train? When's the train to Brawl City? Is that in
according to the timer, about 4.5 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you. Just wanted to know. Make sure we get on the train. As the last pick for AOE Gold in this first phase will be important. I do expect them to go ahead and grab something for the support role. We have seen Engages be the big pickup here for SkyTech. He's going to go with the Nautilus.
one of the recently buffed engaged champions. It's a small one, more damage, so it kind of helps with the trading pattern, as Lulu usually and probably still trades better. But ultimately, it's for the setup later. The dive threat, the being yeeted by Lynx's Kalista in a lot of these team fights as well, and that's the big thing that you're looking for. And at that point now, we're just pinching out solo laners for both of these teams. There are still Cassante is on the board, Jax is on the board, Fiora, all things we've seen, both FakeGod and Gamsu. Yeah, I mean, the Renekton's another one, but that's out of the picture.
I think the Jax has to be one of the bans at least here. I do wonder if Darkwings and MNS get any focuses, because while we're putting so much focus on Lost Days, when we're talking about Tovio, M&S is still a stud in the mid lane in his own right.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to see what they kind of bend and break here around the draft as we close it out. The Fiora is that ban from Cloud9 Challengers to join the top lane focus. And there's the Jax from AOE.
Yep. It looks like a lot of top focus, and C9 just have to ban another top laner to continue that trend here in the second rotation. But ultimately, just taking away a lot of the safe blinds, a lot of the strong side laners in the top lane, and especially with the GP being taken out first rotation, we're really digging a little deep into that top lane pool here.
One of his last bans is going to be, if it's going to be something like the Cassante getting banned away, just try to make something happen here. But it's the Gnar actually banned. I would be interested to see if Gamsu is willing to just pick this Cassante here, something a little bit more stable.
I'm wondering, I think that's what Cloud9 want. It's what they're, it looks like that's what they're leading him towards, and maybe they have an answer. Maybe FakeGod will pull out the Olaf like we've been seeing come through. It was a big deal. Yeah, Cassante locked in. So now it's going to be solo laners picked for Cloud9. MNS is another one to be watching out for as well, because we talked about it. We said at the top of the show, Hoon had second most solo kills in the lead. I think it was part of the Super Heavyweight SmackDown. But the first one is MNS. Cloud9's mid.
2 on Cloud9, huh? Doesn't seem OP at all. The Scion is locked in, though, for FakeGod as the answer into the Cassante. We have seen this one rise in priority. Has been banned a lot of today, though. So I'd love to see that one. Although we did see those trains flying at people earlier.
Oh, I hope it's that skin.
You better be ready. You better be ready.
I'm ready.
Better be ready. But now we're looking at this mid lane. MNS with the final pick here on the blue side. Does lock in the Vex. And now is the answer from Darkwings. What you going to go?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So it kind of dissuades something like an Akali, something like a Silas. You can play it, but it's kind of hard in the laning phase. And it makes me wonder if Darkwings leaning toward those kinds of picks, if he's actually going to be locking that one in. The Vex is interesting because I think the first time I saw it this league was from MNS last weekend, and I rather liked it. Because you have a lot of dive threat, you have a lot of all-in follow-up with like things like the Silas, the Maokai with that Shadow Surge, and that ability to reset is really good for your team fighting as well.
Yeah. Well, we do get the Victor as that answer for Darkwings, something that I actually haven't been that big of a fan of in the meta. I think it feels very stable, feels strong. I think that's something Darkwings needs, but I'm very much looking at how M&S can kind of pick apart this pick, even with the would-be, counter pick for Darkwings. But specifically now, we have to turn back our attention to the jungle matchups. We have two very, very heavy facilitation-focused junglers in the Maokai and the Sejuani. And it's going to be all about those first paths and how Winnie and Tomio find that edge.
That's right, because AOE, of course, they have a lot of early game tools. Their mid to late game is still pretty good, especially with the go buttons they have in Winnie, Skytech, and technically Lynx, Kalista, very cool. Means that AOE can still fight if they fall behind, but that's not what you want. Kalista, Nautilus, you're trying to get ahead as soon as possible, and Victor is that kind of late game insurance. But on the other side here, your all-in team fight is so good on Cloud9's side, so if you start running ahead as Cloud9, you shouldn't have any trouble being able to close out this game, especially with the Zeri Lulu.
Well, we're getting into it now. Game number 1 of our final best of 2 of the day. Got AOE versus Cloud9 Challengers. Make sure you spam in chat AOE if you want AOE to win. C9C if you want Cloud9 to win.
That's right.
And gets those down. And make sure you're using the hashtag NACL on any of your tweets. As I actually haven't seen any more since
Vfly
tried to call us out for the Z-axis, which we were right, by the way.
Yeah, we were.
And anyways, back to what's at hand here. It was a level 1 attempted by AOE to try to get something bot lane, just to feel out a little bit of Cloud9's early advantages, but it looks like both sides will be starting on the top side of the map for the junglers at least.
And I like that focus on vision. You don't want any early game cheese. Damn, I'm trying to remember what you said earlier that I really liked. But to get that lead in the bot lane.
Oh my God, what was it?
You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Cheese Express, cheese
train? No.
I don't remember. It was something along those.
It was something funny, I promise.
I don't know if I want to give myself that much credit, but yeah.
No, it was. And if you Twitch chatter remember the joke, why don't you tweet it at us and use the hashtag NACL? Yeah, help us out.
It all comes together here.
Oh, hey.
Speaking of come together, it's a lot of poke on bottom side. The Ignite used by SkyTech, but the heal in response from Zeyzal. Should just be these trades back before this. SkyTech can land these big trades, especially this level 2 mark. It'd be really big, and we know Lynx is one to run away with a lead if you give it to him on Kalista.
That's why I like the pathing that we are seeing here from Tomio. 2 camps, goes from blue wolves and is just going to go straight to red. Remember, the changes on this patch to camp XP means any 3 camps you do in the jungle should get you to level 3, meaning that level 3 Tomio might want to take a visit to the bottom side of the map. Sees Lynx and SkyTech pushing a little forward, and Tomio just wants to play fun police.
That is absolutely where he's coming. As I do wonder how quickly this pathing adapts from Winnie. It looks like Tomio should wrap around. Yeah, exactly. This is kind of big brain pathing we need to see in these kinds of matchups against Winnie. Yeah. He won't actually commit all the way. He just was going for that ward to see if Winnie's going to go for an aggressive path of his own, and will be spotted out on that nicely placed ward from Tomio.
That's right. Means the M&S have an easy time.
He still plays so far up.
Wait, yeah, what?
M&S not really respecting the gank, or maybe some communication coming down from Cloud9 there. But hey, does make it out with his life. Does have to burn the flash. I'm sure that'll be a repeat gank from Winnie sometime soon.
Soon might be now. If anything, that's kind of funny because Winnie after that might be like, oh, surely there's no vision because of how he stepped up. So maybe no, I'm not even gonna cope and pretend that was like turbo giant brains. Yeah, I'm not even gonna.
The machine start turning on behind you, and I was like, all right, Winnie's gonna take the hit of cope.
Nah, it's literally just like the smoke's coming out the ears, man. I don't know what that was. And I guess I want to take this time to quickly talk about the mid matchup because I think this answer from Dark Wings is interesting. I think Victor is tough to play for because what I see junglers do is not really give him a lot of attention, and I think that is a problem because Victor, you have range and you scale incredibly well. So either holding their hand through laning phase and helping them out or getting them ahead are two very crucial ways to have Victor be that kind of late game guiding light for you. You get him inside lane with a lead, he can outduel almost anybody, and Vex is no exception, especially because of the range and the damage that he's able to put out. And that's what I want to see AOE do. Not only help Lynx and SkyTech, help Darkwings, excuse me. And when he's already doing that.
Now we get the bot lane engaged here, and Zeyzal start getting some of those spears stacked up into him. That's some of the power that can come down. But it's lost, able to poke down a lot of damage, and I do want to go back to the conversation about this bottom lane. We all know what Zeri Lulu does in the late game, and we have seen Lynx be able to pilot a lot of late game positional, mechanics with the Kalistas and things like that. But I still very much recommend the eggs in the basket of Lost on the Zeri here for sure.
That's right. Lost and Zeyzal. Lane is going well so far for Lynx and SkyTech, and that is just how the matchup goes. Lost and Zeyzal are the bot lane to beat in the NACL, and Lynx and SkyTech getting that win would be pretty nice for the... Oh, wait. Is that a stun? Can we look mid real quick? Is M&S going to die? Oh, no, he's not. Okay, he's fine.
The Dragon started up from AOE, though, as a little bit of that pressure in mid lane does lead into AOE moving down here with Winnie, and that's some of that decision-making we wanted to see from AOE. The tried and true for them is just moving Winnie around the map and moving with him. I think this early Dragon will get them stacking in the right direction. Again, we're kind of highlighting that stacking needing to probably be a factor here when you're counting some of that late game scaling.
That's right, especially when you have such bot prio from this lane matchup with Lynx and SkyTech. Stack the dragons. That's what you got to do, and that soul can be a big win con for you and something they'll likely continue to play towards. And overall, things are slow, not getting maybe the action that you and I were excited for. No one's boarded the flying train yet, but to be fair, Fake God just hit level 6, so you know, benefit of the doubt.
We were going to Fight City, and Fight City is not what I was promised. At least
yeah, Fight City, Brawl Town, Smackdown Avenue.
Yeah, all of those. Beatdown Boulevard. Wait.
Yeah.
No way.
Whoa, wait a minute. I know that guy.
I know. Whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
No, but it is just that calm, cool, a little bit of early game, trying to feel out each other, a lot of that reservation. But now we're starting to see the forays into that joyous adventure from Cloud9 Challengers.
A little bit of Dora the Exploring, but in a good way. I know some players and teams see that as a bad thing. And now I like this. This is what we were praising Breezy and Kevy last game from doing. It's that linking up with your jungler. Zeyzal and Tomio are doing the clear vision to help get some deep vision, to get more of an idea on where AOE Winnie's going to be pathing, where he's going to be moving across the map. And I think that Ward already had spotted him out. So they do know that Tomio has a great angle bot side if he wants to take it.
You know, it's so funny to me hearing from Zeyzal, and also from Lost, actually, more recently, but Zeyzal in particular, when we're talking about, you know, him coming from coaching last year on Cloud9 and the successes that the Cloud9 LCS roster had. And I'm love to see that he's able to kind of transition some of that knowledge, some of that veterancy, the control that he gained as a coach into his voice, into the game, right? And you talk to all the players, they all say that they hear that from him sometimes, right? Like, that coach voice comes out occasionally. But the thing that Zeyzal is most happy about on this roster is that he said, these verbatim, he's playing with the most aggressive ADC he's ever played with. And the fact that Lost is the one signaling a lot of the 2v2 advances and the advantages that they find is funny to me, but it's also heartening to the fact that this bot lane, again, is that standard. It feels like is that big top of the ADC pool here in Challengers.
Yeah. It's more than standard. These two are exceptional in the bot lane. And Lost in particular, I'm glad you bring that up. We talk about Zeyzal trying to compete again, make their way back to LCS. It's the same with Lost, who didn't have the greatest showing when he was on, I believe, TSM. Didn't get a fair chance to really show what he is able to do. And now back in the NACL, dominating with Zeyzal as his lane partner, is fighting for that opportunity once again to play at the top.
It is nice to see, but Lynx and Skytech want to disrupt that here themselves, being a very stacked bot lane in the provisional squads, one of the best, if not the best. And it is about these comfort picks for them for sure, and they lean into that where we've seen more of that, you know, viability of meta for the Cloud9 bot lane, but it's still about what works for you. And so far, these kinds of comps have been where AOE found their advantages. Now we see Winnie continuing to stack up these neutral objectives. He'll be able to get this Rift Arrow for them as well.
I mean, Gamsu's had a pretty good advantage topside as well. Whoa, Skytech.
Try to go for it.
I love it. Good attempt. It doesn't work, but it would have been a crazy one too, because Tomio wasn't quite ready to make it happen. But now it's Dark Wings. Oh, you wouldn't.
M&S, he wants to go solo, but he can't get it. Thanks to that tower shot's very close when he was darting over here. That's a very close tussle in the mid lane.
Wait. Okay, no, he's fine. Wait, is he fine?
That's a flash. Glacial Prison. M&S, he does have the fear left. Winnie, you got to be careful. And he does get slowed down. Tomio is here to knock him back. Skytech wants to get in, and everyone's just showing their faces in mid lane, but no kills going down.
Wow. That feels bad for Winnie. It seemed like he had the angle, but he wasn't able to secure that kill in the end. M&S, this is what we expect from the guy. Most solo kills in the lead by a decent bit as well. He's going to go for those plays, even if they don't end up working out for him. And it means that he's able to not find a big lead. And I think that's another thing when we talk about Cloud9 Challengers as a roster. They're 14-4. They're, I believe, top 3, top 4 in the standings, and definitely one of the best teams we have. In their losses, most notably, they are games where M&S either gets shut down, neutralized, or anything like that. So my eyes have been on Dark Wings as well going into the series to see how he's going to be able to lane, because if M&S doesn't snowball, things don't always go Cloud9's way.
I'm curious to see now, I guess, the moving around this dragon pit here for Cloud9. They are bringing a lot of bodies towards bottom lane as well. Fake God and Gamsu just doing the wet noodle fight up here in the top side. And I'm actually seeing movement from Darkwings and MNS down here. So it looks like we have a fight brewing around this objective. And would be a second dragon for AOE as Darkwings and MNS have already started that fighting. Chaos Storm will be down. AOE, with that pressure, might actually just be able to pull this out.
It should be easy. They committed a good bit to make it happen. That dragon should be theirs.
Darkwings.
Oh, wait.
So MNS is about to have the ulti up. He has Winnie waiting for him to pull that trigger inside, but Winnie has now kind of gone away. MNS trying to get some more poke on a Darkwings. Winnie just heavy hovering this mid lane.
Yeah, he doesn't have the option because Lost and Zazel have that bot wave, cleared that bot wave, and they moved up.
God.
Oh, whoa, we got a lot.
Skytech, he's going ham here with that Fate's Call available. He does pull back. Glacial Prison comes out. MNS, he gets away for the time being, but he does it. First blood to Darkwings.
Man, I just realized we went 12 minutes before First Blood came through. And I like the attack on two fronts here from the side of AOE. The fact is, Skytech is fine to go in, commit the ultimate, because that's the beauty of Fate's Call. It's not just an engage tool, it can be a peel tool. And it gave that opening for the play to happen in the mid lane. It's okay to lose the dragon overall because kills for Darkwings are good. It means you get that upgraded laser, you get those Victor bucks to upgrade your abilities overall. And it's good stuff. It's good soup.
Good soup. What's your favorite soup?
Oh, man. My mom taught me this lentil soup recipe that actually just goes so crazy hard.
That sounds like it slaps.
And so did this replay.
Yeah.
Hey! You see this? You see that battle? The timing has to be planned here from these guys, from the side of AOE, and it made it so that nobody turns to look at what's happening mid.
Yeah.
Even with the Shadow Surge, MNS couldn't do anything but fall to his late opponent.
You see Rift Herald utilized on bot lane was literally like a millisecond for coming up, but it's all calm and collected from AOE. They're trying to get some more plates for Winnie and Skytech. They brought down Darkwings. Tomio trying to get away from this one, though. You got to be a little careful. The Chaos Storm had been used. That's a couple more plates down here. And AOE walking away with a 2,000 gold lead 13 minutes in.
I really like how AOE's playing the map. Even having Gamsu rotate down to catch that mid wave. Even though he's going to lose a little bit topside as a result and Fake God gets played, like he's playing Scion. Who cares? It's fine. Like it's not that big a deal. And MNS is in trouble.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's getting CC'd to all hell. Tomio's here though. The Nature's Grass back. MNS, he does have the fear.
MNS is ult.
Get the damage down though.
Oh.
Shadow Surge forward. He doesn't get
the
shield.
shield.
Finally does. Doesn't hit that second Shadow Surge, but Zazel, he wants it. No, he gets dragged under tower here, and Winnie makes it out just barely.
Wow, Tomio, really nice play there to save his mid laner, and no one fell on the side of Cloud9 in the process. It's a 1-for-0, evening up the kill score. Even though Cloud9 still find themselves a little bit behind, even without the kills, this game is a scrappy one, Lennon. And I like what Skytech is doing because Lost, you're by yourself, buddy. That is an illegal move, I fear.
They're going to try to do the combo here. Depth charge in, and Lynx is starting to lay in, but he's got a lot of health here, and they both back away as now that's an unstoppable onslaught. He ain't a train today, but it will be Fake God coming down bot lane to help out Lost.
Yeah, that's a big bailout here. Lost surely would have fallen otherwise. And it just means that now Tomio will have to catch the wave top. And oh, we're going to see this replay. And this is a position where, again, MNS, you're pushed up a little too far, but he doesn't actually get punished for it here. The big thing is Tomio comes with the Nature's Grasp, and that second laser ended up missing. Even though it looked like Darkwings was going to make it happen, the shield from the Q, it didn't matter.
Didn't matter in the end, as Rift Herald now actually looks like it started up by Winnie. And with these one item spikes coming across really for a lot of members of AOE very soon. We got the shield bow for Lynx, but as well as that Warmog, the Crossfire Gauntlet as well. They are feeling very comfortable to move their bodies up here and get this objective, as well as maybe even look for a charge in mid lane here. But that second Rift Herald for AOE.
Right, and this is good, because ultimately AoE, they're not getting all the kills that maybe they're hoping for, but they've been focusing down most of these early objectives. And this is what their comp is built for. You called it. Those first item spikes coming up across the board with the exception of Darkwings means that they can do these things And now is the point where they need to do more, because you haven't really set Lost behind very much, for example. You need to be able to get Lynx further ahead, get some more gold into Darkwings and people like that, so that the snowball can really start here. Because for Lost, M&S, Lost especially, you're waiting for the 2-item mark. That's going to come up, not in this next dragon fight, but probably the 4th dragon that will spawn. And then if that's the point where Cloud9 are, what, 1,500 gold down, and everyone else is only like a couple hundred gold down individually, you don't really care. You're chilling.
Yeah, I want to see that, especially if they can make to that 3rd item spike as well for the Zeri. Just big stuff in team fights. So we see pings from AOE going down towards the dragon that will be spawning up here as well. It is an Ocean Soul, so something else to consider in terms of priority on dragon. And it looks like actually bringing down Fake God is the play, and C9 want to contest.
Drake stacking, very important to AOE. Cloud9 know this. They're in a position where they feel confident trying to engage M&S's bot lane, but he can join from a distance. I don't know if anyone sees him.
Lynx is a little bit on the side here. Skytech going to try to move forward. Dragon already being targeted with a bunch of spears in it. As now Tomio's coming up. You see M&S in the side now. As here comes the unstoppable onslaught signals. The end is coming as Big Wombo comes in.
Oh, big!
Comes in from M&S, and Cloud9 are cleaning house, and no one's home from AOE. They just broke in and cleaned the counters and said, yo, we're eating off these things, as that's 4 down for AOE.
And they don't lose any in the process. And this is the tipping point. It's an ace at 17 minutes in the game. Cloud9 find themselves in the lead in the comp that wanted to wait till the late game. And now they're the ones who are accelerated. And honestly, it was all because of M&S in that play. The fact is, you got a great setup from Tomio, but you ult Lynx. Lynx in all the games we've seen him do well on, in all these fights, he's managed to avoid the ire of diving champions like the Vex. But this time around, he was not able to do it. Gamsu, who was trying to zone, got called into this fight. And look at that Shadow Surge. It was perfect. Lynx never had a chance.
Little thing there, though. They engage from Skytech, moved him out of the way, and Fake God got an unstoppable onslaught straight onto the back line. And that's just a little bit of compositional awareness going out the window for AOE, and great execution from C9.
And this now it's resulted in a very bad game state for AOE. Even now they're struggling to get this Herald down. And oh, are we fighting?
Looks like we are indeed. Tomio doesn't have the ulti, nobody does, but M&S is going forward as well. AOE. They're moving a little bit back. Shadow Surge, that's not gonna be taken.
No way.
That's not gonna be taken.
No way.
It was, though, pretty heavy stuff from C9 as they were defending that Rift Herald push in mid lane. And as you said, it's a rough position for AOE. They don't necessarily have the strength in the later part of the game, and they have some strength. They got Darkwings, they got Cassante. I mean, Lynx himself will have some decent damage, but I'm looking across the bow and looking at Lost at M&S and Fake God, and they are going to be untouchable.
I'm seeing the bounties too, and I'm sweating if I'm an AOE fan, and AOE probably know this as well. Look, they've been in these positions before, where from decisive calls and gameplay, they're able to make it happen. But you're playing against Cloud9. They are not going to give you very many openings for you to get back into this game. So at this point, it's going to have to be some good decision-making going forward from AOE, taking camps, trying to pressure the right waves, and a lot of grouping. Getting this mid turret is important because they'll be able to control this bottom side of the jungle a little easier, lay down vision, and try to dragon stack because they've fallen behind in that regard. But they're going to have to keep doing it and find some picks on top of it.
Again, a lot of pings down mid lane as well as AOE finding out Tomio on their side of the jungle at least. And get some vision game down, but Tomio's just being a menace here, to be honest. We got the Christmas presents, though, so we're back to the theme of Christmas in whatever month we are in.
February?
And, but it's not Christmas time. Oh, I thought he stole it. I thought he was going to get it, but it's not. It's the unstoppable onslaught on the side there. Fake God and the rest of Cloud9 trying to pull the trigger on AOE. And they are definitely just fishing to take out AOE now.
You're in such a good position as Cloud9. Why not? Fish to your heart's content. They're going to be able to take this turret as well. Nature's teleport.
Gamsu on the side. He wants to make the difference, but they've already taken so much damage. Look at the back line. They're getting engaged on by M&S, but maybe they find him back. The tower was still doing so much work to separate this.
Oh, wait!
He got the shutdown on M&S. Oh my God, he's actually going to chase him down. That ain't, that's a tree, and those are swords.
That's a tree. Yeah, true.
You know. Although I actually did see the other day, there's like this sword that you could buy that's supposed to be for wood chopping. So that was kind of
what?
Fun.
That sounds cool. You got to send me that video. But yeah, it is kind of poggers. This game, though, that was a big deal for AOE. The shutdown goes over to Gamsu. Nobody falls in the process. And even though you lose your mid-tier 1 turret, it's worth. You were going to lose that regardless. So you see the, oh, we're looking at different set. No, that's cute. That's not even terrifying. It's not like the soccer balls, you know?
If you get a presence walking at you with yellow eyes, you don't think that's terrifying? I mean, that's like some...
A little bit, but I don't know. For some reason that I can't explain, not as much as soccer balls.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Those soccer balls definitely a little bit scary. This one just looks... I mean, the mouth is pretty scary. It's got like some spikes on it and stuff. But as a whole, I think AOE, they're looking to get back into this one in some way, shape, or form. I think it starts by getting some of this vision cleared and feeling a little bit more comfortable on the map. And that leads from Winnie. And back to this whole point where Winnie is that decisive factor in the early game for AOE. He finds leads, he facilitates leads, and they find wins because of that. But without that, Tomio, yes, he has his own direction in the early game, but now he is literally, like we said, the sword that is being wielded by Cloud9 to help the rest of his team pick up kills. And it's been so methodical the way Cloud9 have adapted their strategy after this like 15 to 20 minute mark.
That's right. For AOE, the strategy is simple. You brute force. Pry out. Oh, in that mid lane, look for a pick.
Tomio stunned up here. Chaos Storm just being tanked down, but Nature's Grass comes out. That's a knockback on a Winnie. They get the lightning crash here.
Whoa!
He's getting stunned up, but look at the AoE. He's putting so much in now. Darkwings can't connect the damage. And M&S plus the combo of Lost. Gamsu almost gets lost in the end of it with that all out, but he ends up making it out. And Cloud9, they pick up 2 for none, and that's a dragon for Soul Point.
This gets worse and worse for AOE. Soul was something they wanted to play towards, something they wanted to acquire for themselves. But now they aren't going to be able to get that anytime soon. It would be... God, we'd have to be going close to 40 minutes if we were going to see a soul for AOE gold. And that's tough. As long as you can deny the soul from Cloud9, it will be good enough, but you fall further and further behind in this game. And even though bot lane, things are even right now, it's this mid lane where you're really starting to see this lead come through. You haven't gotten that second item for Darkwings, even though he's starting to level up a lot of his abilities. And the all-in from Cloud9 is too good. We talked about it in Champ Select. If they have the lead, they can just pull the trigger whenever they please.
Speaking of pulling triggers, they might be getting an itchy trigger finger here soon. Has lost with that Ultra Shock Laser. Just try to get some poke down as well. But I will say the Evan Shroud, interestingly enough for me, for Skytech, I think it's also something we've seen Skytech run before as well. Something he's gone into, and I'm interested to see the paid dividends here if they do want to try to take this late game. What some of this will be able to set up the decisiveness of AOE, but they're not as decisive when he's getting caught out with this vision game. And Winnie, you're surrounded by everybody. The hills have eyes here, but he's actually trying to fight them. Maybe he hasn't watched the movie, as that's terrifying enough. But AOE actually make it out alive. Whitney found himself in a sticky situation.
You know, I'm with Winnie there. I haven't seen that movie either. Maybe that's why.
The hills have eyes? Oh my God.
No, I'm really bad with horror movies, so I'm probably going to keep it that way. So now, though, Winnie, a bit of a horror film himself and just doesn't know it. Everyone wants to get on him. A pick on the jungler for AOE would mean an easy Baron for Cloud9. But all that bit of distracting has allowed Lynx and Gamsu to ensure this wave push. So now, either they answer this or they make a play.
There you go. Skytech finds the play here. Lightning crash from Lost, but it's too little too late. Shut down to Darkwings. They're trying to catch out Fake God now as well. Winnie almost died to Tomio over there.
Oh, it's playable.
Now Tomio's coming back in. M&S, he wants to go back in. He wants to set up as much as he can. The fear comes through, and these saplings are starting to do some serious damage over time. M&S, with this corridor and Fake God in front of him, can layer down some serious heat. and AOE don't have the flame retardant to work out as they now move on to the Baron.
That's a bold call. Lost isn't on the map. So it's a lot of damage out of the picture, but still, you have to worry about M&S. You have to worry about the Shadow Surge.
SkyTech tries to go in again. They get the Glacial Prison, though, onto Zeyzal. Zeyzal flashes. Fake God is back with a full health bar. Gamsu's getting low. They're trying to get M&S, but he's flashing out. Maybe he's not even going to die here. And Cloud9, they take from nothing everything from AOE, and that's an ace. A clean one at that, and a big purple Baron for Cloud9.
Cloud9 just keep taking and taking and taking from AOE. Props to them for trying at every stage of this game to be able to get leads for themselves. But now this is the nightmare scenario. Cloud9 have all the tools they need to close things out. They have the Baron, and even though tier 2s are up for AOE now, with this difference in gold and that buff in tow, Cloud9 are knocking on AOE's base very, very soon. And look at this replay. I like this. Winnie distracting in the jungle. This is the decisiveness we talked about. You have that angle, and this play, everything about it, honestly was great. I loved it. It's just what happens afterwards, because you walk, after time passes, you walk to the Baron, and you want to play for the turn. That's good, but your health bars are really low, and that's a risky play for you to make because of it. And, you know, you'll see once we get to that part that AOE... True, Winnie's Warmogs was super helpful in that regard, but ultimately, M&S teleported back to this play, and you can see the damage he was able to put out.
Oh, we're back in alive, though. We got another cluster of fights here, though. Tomio goes on a killing spree, and SkyTech has nothing left to say. Winnie, Gamsu, they find the backline. They find the double knockup, though, onto AOE's backline. And you look back, there's nothing there but dust, and you're asking Mr. Stark, why does it hurt as Cloud9 destroy AOE in game 1?
And there's nothing left for AOE to do. Winnie, the only player left as Cloud9 from start to finish, had AOE's number, and they're calling on the base.
We'll see if maybe a snap of the fingers can erase Cloud9 from the existence of AOE's memory here, but I don't think it will. On to the Nexus Towers. They're a little hesitant. They actually back off after only getting one. Those health bars still pretty heavy, but it is those death timers coming back from AOE that's concerning.
At least you managed to hold on to your base, but that's a Nexus turret down. Teleports are coming through. You need to rush this dragon. You need to try and get this pick onto M&S. He doesn't have flash. Can anyone join him, though?
Unstoppable onslaught's coming down. They are bringing the pain train here, and Winnie heard that sound, and he is backing off.
That's a tough call. You had to try that to maybe give you a better chance to go for this dragon, but now you just give up soul. You don't have it in you to be able to contest this. You're down 9k, no Baron. You got to take what camps you can and get the hell out. AOE, they got nothing left, Lennon, besides a miracle team fight. A hope, a wish, and a dream is really all they can carry going into this next game.
That's Soul secured there. Ocean Soul for Cloud9 Challengers. They'll push in this tier 2 tower on the bot side. Bring all members here with the Baron buff up for another 20 seconds. Still waiting on the wave, though, as they only have the one cannon here. And not willing to push that one as far as possible here. That top side is pushing in by itself as the tier 2 tower falls. The Nexus towers close by, but it's the inhib in bottom lane that will be first sights.
And they're just going to sack that wave top. Not important here. AOE going to clear waves as best they can with things like Victor and such, but now with the Baron buff over, they might be able to clear these waves. The turret is gone, though. AOE don't want to pull this trigger. They also want to avoid getting engaged on, because that will spell the end.
There's one more Nexus to go for this game to be over. Get the lightning crash in from Cloud9, and Lost is doing so much AOE here. The knockup from the unstoppable onslaught of Fake God just sets up the spike of the ball from Cloud9 in game 1. And they will come out swinging, and now it's AOE who need to respond and find an answer to this holistic beatdown that Cloud9 just put out.
And what a beatdown it was, Lennon. As Cloud9 dismantle AOE. We talked about Kalista bans, and Cloud9 were like, let him play it. It doesn't matter. And that was a convincing win. Despite some good looks from AOE, Cloud9 are just better.
And that's the difference. That's why we talk with so much praise of Lost and Zeyzal and how damn good they are in this league. Some of the best to do it here in the Challengers League. But that's it for us for game number 1. We're going to sit to a little break. We'll have a halftime bit with Smacks on the other side.